Hello, I'm Bretton, one of our MCAT tutors here at Inspira Advantage, where we help students get into medical school and other professional programs. Welcome back, future problem solvers. Today we are diving into the world of problem-solving methods, an essential tool in the toolbox of every aspiring medical professional, and critical for the MCAT. These approaches not only help in test taking, but are also vocab words you need to know for the Psych-So section. So let's dive on into it, beginning with trial and error. It's exactly what it sounds like, attempting different solutions until the problem is solved. Suppose you're trying to remember a forgotten password. You might be trying different combinations of passwords that you've used before until you find the correct one. While this may not be efficient, it's a direct approach to problem solving that can often lead to a solution eventually. Next up are algorithms. These are step-by-step procedures for solving problems that are guaranteed to produce a solution if applied correctly, 100% sure. Let's say you're trying to find the square root of a number by hand. There's a particular algorithm or set of steps that you can follow to find the answer, and it'll take a long time, but you will get there. And importantly, these are slower than heuristics. And what are heuristics? Basically, they're gut reactions, but we'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. First, we have to understand deductive and inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is where we draw specific conclusions based on general rules or principles. For example, if you know that all birds have feathers and you see a sparrow, you can deduce that the sparrow has feathers. Conversely, inductive reasoning involves creating broad generalizations based on specific instances. If you have always seen sparrows with feathers, you might induce that all sparrows have feathers. Mental sets refer to the approach we typically use to solve a problem. This could be a formula or a method you're comfortable with. While these can speed up problem solving, they can also hinder it if the mental set doesn't quite fit the problem. An example of this could be functional fixedness, which is a cognitive bias that limits us to using an object only in the way it's traditionally used. For example, seeing a shoe just as footwear and not considering that it could also serve as a makeshift hammer. Or in this example on screen, we have a candle, but no candle holder. Well, luckily, we've got a tack, so we could just stick the candle on the tack and boom, we've got a candle holder. Somebody with high functional fixedness wouldn't think about that. They'd say, well, thumbtacks are for poking into my thumb, not for holding a candle, and they wouldn't think to do that. And I promised you we would talk about heuristics, so let's do that. Heuristics, or rules of thumb, are quick problem-solving strategies, and they're not always accurate, but they can speed up decision-making. The availability heuristic is probably the most common one that the MCAT loves to test, and this involves making decisions based on readily available information. For example, after hearing news of a plane crash, you might decide to drive instead of fly because the risk of a car crash seems lower. This is different than the representativeness heuristic, which is the tendency to make decisions based on what we typically think is representative of the category. For example, if somebody is described as shy and reserved, we might assume they're a librarian rather than a salesperson based on stereotypes. We also have confirmation bias, which is the tendency to focus on information that fits our beliefs while rejecting contradicting information. Say you firmly believe in the health benefits of a particular diet. You're more likely to pay attention to studies supporting it and dismissing those that criticize it. Like in this example, we have a guy who thinks that eating meat is bad and unhealthy, so they Google why meat is bad. Then they read one side of the argument, and this is reinforcing their beliefs that meat is bad. This is also like probably any report you ever wrote in middle school or high school, where you're just trying to back up your own opinion by finding a news article that said it somewhere. Lastly, let's discuss Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. He proposed 7 areas of intelligence: linguistic, logical, mathematical, musical, visuospatial, bodily kinesthetic, interpersonal, and intrapersonal. The theory here is that everyone has different strengths and weaknesses among these intelligences, affecting how we approach and solve problems. By understanding and mastering these methods, you'll not only boost your MCAT performance, but also develop crucial skills for your future medical practice. Thank you so much for watching our video on problem solving, and I will see you next time.